So let's kind of take it back then and talk about a kind of an early stage company, and let's kind of think about what it is that they need to do. So I guess the question is how would you suggest, or what would you suggest to an early stage organization in order to kind of get started on the right path with cybersecurity? You've obviously touched on kind of briefly on funding challenges and different product priorities. But what is it that you would say to an organization that really kind of wants to start off on the right path here with cybersecurity?
Yeah, early stage companies have a unique problem. One is that, you never have enough folks to do all the things that need to happen inside of an early stage company. In fact, you're most often focused on, fundraising and getting to the next round and, finding product market fit. And none of those things say security or cybersecurity. And so it can be difficult as a founder and as an early stage company to really get it right. And so, thinking in terms of, what are the sorts of tools that I can use? Make sure you're leveraging not just operational tools that are going to take a lot of time and a lot of expertise to run, but tools that are leveraging AI, or at least leveraging some sort of data analytics to help you get insight into where you should focus the limited time that you have. I mean, public cloud it's super powerful for every stage of company, but especially early stage. There has never been a time where building a technology stack is so easy for an early stage company, right? You used to have to buy, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in hardware to do that. And now I can, spend a few dollars, spend a few not that much money, and I can have a prototype of a product up and running. So securing that, I, likewise need a tool that's really easy to get up and running, and just watching the environment for me and informing the founder as to where they should spend their time.
Mm-hmm. But do you not find in the ease of use and deployment, and there's a lot of options out there now as well, and I hate to kind of bring it back to this, but it's obviously still so relevant. The kind of the push up to cloud solutions when everyone was kind of moved away from the workplace, working from home due to the pandemic. We found that people kind of they put this infrastructure in place, or they forced through their migrations, or they kind of adopted all of these different platforms earlier on a lot quicker than they'd kind of anticipated, just to enable their remote workforce. But do you find, and based upon conversations we've had as well, that because it was kind of rushed and because these solutions are seemingly easy to implement, all of a sudden security became a big concern, because then they realized that all of this data was being shared, maybe externally from the company, and there was just data flying around everywhere, and people didn't really seem to understand how these systems were integrated or how they were working with each other. And these are some of the challenges that we talk about, on a daily basis today. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, that's a real issue we created in this mass shift to a work from home model to a remote work model. Maybe that's the better way to put it. Is we have not been built for a distributed workforce. And I think part of the challenge in cybersecurity is there are so many solutions and there are so many categories of solutions. I mean, just in the space that I play in, there's 25-ish categories that overlap and describe sort of, what is being done. And I think that's really challenging, not just for businesses and IT folks. It's challenging for us cybersecurity folks. I mean, every time you go back in and look at the industry, suddenly there's new categorization, there's new ideas, there's new tools. It's this constantly evolving industry. And it's a bit unique in that respect. So I think it's created unique challenges in that right there, in trying to secure that data, in trying to adapt to changes that are really kind of external forces on us that we need to respond to. And I think that cybersecurity companies, it would go a long way if we were to adopt models of implementation and use that were much more aligned to the user experience, helping them stand up quickly, helping them understand the products very quickly. That's not been my experience in cybersecurity. I don't know about yours. I would love to hear it, but it a lot of times is long sales cycle, long implementation cycle, and a long learning curve in so many of the tool sets out there. And I would like to see more and more companies adopt, sort of a rapid, the ability to rapidly deploy, integrate, and get insight, frankly, for the greater user community out there.
I think my personal opinion on this is that there needs to be, and I think it's progressive. I think we're definitely moving along. My extensive experience and for my career before I was doing this was very much an IT guy stuck in a dark room. I was a systems administrator, and anything that had anything to do with computers or files or servers or absolutely anything, it was an IT problem. If something went missing, it was an IT problem. If a server was inaccessible, it was an IT problem. And to a degree, keeping the infrastructure running and making sure resources are available and business continuity is up. Yeah, it very much is an IT problem. But security shouldn't be. So having an awareness around the data that you're working with is an organizational wide problem. I think that you kind of touched on that we should be kind of raising awareness and removing the burden from IT and making sure that people understand that if they're handling data or if they're inside applications or content management systems, that they should be responsible for how they're accessing and sharing that data, right?
They should. And I think, what I've seen as I've come up through the industry is that in a lot of ways, cybersecurity is a really inaccessible industry. And it's in part, we've kind of created the problem, us who've been in it for a while, because we've developed our own kind of language. We have a secret language we speak. We don't even know it's secret, but it is to people in the business. When you speak to the CFO, they have no idea what we're talking about.
That's
and
true.
So, that creates a sort of in club and a sort of inaccessibility that we all have to work really hard to mitigate and help bring along the business and the business operations, so that they do feel that level of responsibility for data security, that level of responsibility for kind of the ongoing protection of this organization, and at frankly, whoever's end data that is. I think people naturally want to do the good and right thing, but it can be really intimidating working with folks like you and I who, when you have a developed set of knowledge and you speak a certain way and you're kind of in it every day, we don't even realize that the people with their hands on the keyboard sometimes don't understand, what we need them to do and be aware of.